Okay. Well, welcome everybody. I mean, it's an absolute privilege to be in your group again, and I'd like to thank James for inviting me. And I arrived this evening, I sort of slid in sideways just as Praveen was introducing me, and I must admit, I get overwhelmed, and two beautiful introductions there this evening that, all I can say is thank you. And I hope that people here this evening aren't going to be disappointed. I do everything as you guys do. We're all working towards the same thing. We just tend to have our slant on it, and we tend to do things in different ways, depending on what the end result is going to be. Like Shabira was saying, she saw the opportunity, was presented with an opportunity, saw the outcome of what she wanted 5 days later, and just jumped straight in without thinking about it. And basically, that's not too dissimilar to what I'm gonna share my screen with you this evening and take you through just a very quick presentation. But COVID has changed a lot of things in our lives. It's changed our environment around us. It's changed the way that we perceive things and the way that people perceive us, and even what we're doing. But fundamentally, it's not changed the way that business is run and business procedures. Apart from the fact that we've all moved online, and there's been my greatest challenge these last 2 years, because like you guys, I'm very much face to face, and I just love doing everything face to face. But COVID forced me to do things and look at things a lot differently as well. So I've just put a small PowerPoint presentation together for you. Just let me change the viewing on my screen so that I can see it. Okay. So just before I do, for those of you who have not met me before, and like I said, I've had great introductions already, but my name is Diane Mitchell, and I'm the founder of the Wonderful World of Wellbeing. And that came about based on a life experience that I had several years ago, that I was given a few weeks to live. And my journey just changed from there. And the outcome of it was the birth of the Wonderful World of Wellbeing. And the purpose of that is to change people's lives through holistic ways. So we primarily do that through live festivals. And now with COVID, we moved online. We've got a wellbeing network, and also I work in private practice. But the overarching thing with the organisation is to get the message out to people that life isn't always at the end of a prescription, and that you've got choices and methodologies, and there's some amazing, brilliant alternative ways out there without getting hooked up in a chemical world. And I'm not anti-NHS. I think there's a place for both. It's just that we focus on holistics, probably like most of you guys do here. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Hopefully I can find the document I'm looking for. I think it's this one. Okay. Can you all see that okay?
Yeah, got it, Diane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
Thank you. All right. So it's not how to monetize your business is all of it is massive when you look at the layers and layers and layers of details. Now, because we run sort of a larger event, the detail is what's absolutely required. But then I've always been a person for detail. I'm probably fortunate in a way that I'm very creative, but I'm very logical as well. So I tend to mix the two together. But I operate at my best, and what I've put together today for you guys is from a holistic perspective. So being full creatives or highly creative people like we are, we tend to come from one side of the brain rather than the other. We don't always get the balance. And what I do to help me and my organisation and people within it, we have everything written down, and we have systematic approaches. And as I've grown and developed myself over the years, I've found that the more realistic and colourful and artistic things look, the more work that I get through. So I'm just going to encourage you to, I mean, you're obviously recording this, so I take it it's going to be shared out. But just allow yourselves that whatever you're doing in your planning, making money is okay. And making money in colourful, creative ways is absolutely okay. And yes, I think it was Anton what said at the beginning, we're here to serve. We certainly are, but we're also here to pay bills and keep a roof over our heads so that we can do more of the good stuff that people and the public deserve. So really, we have to serve, to some degree, we have to serve ourselves first when it comes to business organisation and what we want to achieve. Because if we don't achieve what we want to achieve, we're not going to be able to serve others. So that's my sort of reprioritising as well. So these are basically, I've done it from a holistic perspective, trying to consider our audience this evening. So 6 ways to monetize. You can wholesale products, design an affiliate program, which is something I think Deborah here is involved in at the moment, sharing your knowledge through consulting. You can offer e-courses, you can teach, you can be a public speaker. All these things come into what we do, and also wealth creation as well is another aspect of what we do, because it's always about looking for other ways that feed your funnel, if you like. So I'm going to take a presentation tonight on, I'm going to give you some graphics in a second about how to monetize, and I've based it on a workshop. However, all the procedures for whatever you do is more or less exactly the same. Now, whether we're organising a networking meeting or I'm organising a festival with 110 exhibitors, we go through exactly the same process. It's just that some of the planning takes longer. So monetizing comes right back down to the planning. If you don't know what you want to make and how much you want to make a difference to the world, a difference to people's lives, and also a difference to your own income, you'll never get there. So this is the first thing that and all what you're going to see here, which is really brief, but all what you're going to see here is exactly what happens. If we're starting on a project, I will pick up a piece of paper and I'll start brainstorming. And I don't put it all on electronic because I like my papers, and I like my graphs and my charts and my drawings. So I just start brainstorming, and the idea of what's at stake, say for example a workshop, I'll just start making notes about it, about the feeling of what it is I want to teach, what I want the outcome to be, and then I just start dumping down all sorts of detail in between that. Excuse me. So a lot of people tend to want to jump straight in and run with a course, or I have a client I'm working with at the moment who's brought a type of massage to the UK, and she just wanted to open some classes to start teaching. Nobody else is teaching it here in the UK, but she'd got lots and lots of detail to do to get there, but not making it bigger than it needed to. The reason why the devil's in the detail is to make the end result successful. So this is the second flyer here now I've got for you, what says just pause, stop and think, because this is the most critical time. If you do all your planning and your thinking and getting all your ideas written down, it could be one word that doesn't even jump out on your page at the very beginning, but as you're going through the detail and the planning, it could be that makes the difference to the outcome. So again, how will you know where you're going if the roadmap isn't created first? It'd be like getting in your car and wanting to drive to Yorkshire, which is my place of origin, and not having a map or a sat nav in your car. How on earth are you going to get to the door that you need to do? So it's good to have that roadmap. And my recommendation is do not move forward until you are very confident with your project at hand and the theme of it and what you're wanting to achieve from the outcome. And here's where we start. So I do a brain dump first, and then a list of ideas, and it doesn't matter how big and how many. I've got a pile of lists here at the side of me that I'm constantly working on and clearing down and starting again. I think what you'll be surprised at when I get to the end of this, it would not surprise me if all of you said, well, I do that. This is all what I do. But the difference is once you've got a process and it's written down, it makes a humongous difference, and it allows creative people to remain grounded whilst being creative and get the outcomes that they're looking for. So the ways to be creative as a creative person is just start gathering details, information, images through meditative visualizations, which, to be honest, that works for me heaps. I could be sat here working on a project and there's a bubble going on in my head and I'm visualizing something over there. But I've become really well accustomed to visualization over the years. And one of my sayings is, the only way to see your future before it happens is visualize it. Create a vision board. We still need business plans, but my business plans have gone out the window in terms of how I used to do them 20, 30 years ago. I'm not interested in words. I'm interested in colour and graphics. I think my first festival ever, which wasn't here, it was in another country overseas where I used to live, that was created on a vision board, and there were more emojis on there than anything else. And that was my first festival, was born on the front cover of a vision board that I created. Lists and setting goals. Again, if you don't know where you're going to, you'll never get there. So monetizing anything we do, whether it's a meditation class or a fair or a festival, whatever, if you've got an idea of what you want to do, then all the steps fall into it. Researching ideas, because it's not about, and what I will stress here this evening, I'm not going to encourage or expect anybody to copy, and I will say, don't copy, just continue to be creative. And I can't emphasize that enough, because as creative people, and I've known it, I've had it in my business circle, I've had it in my work circle with my clients, when people copy, it dulls the light. And as holistic people, we're not here to do that. We're here to be fully creative. So when I say research, just look at ideas, look at what other people are doing, but don't copy it. Put your own theme behind it. Give your own essence, heart and soul, because that will give you the result you want. But when you copy something, there's no heart in it, there's no spirit, and it'll just flatline. So this perhaps is the biggest and most important slide of all, and this is the one that you'll need to be working with for methodologies of how to monetize your business. Now, this is an actual slide that we use, and it's one of what I call the more boring slides, because there's lots of work gone into lists and mind map trees, and there's all sorts will have happened by the time we get to this. But I'm speaking to you all as creatives, so you're probably all very aware of mind mapping. And in a way, this is mind mapping, but this is getting the structure of a lot more things down. And hang on, where's that gone? And I've just I've created this just for tonight's purpose, if you like, and for a workshop, but it's the form that I use. And also it's a document. A couple of these slides I use in my Wellbeing Academy as well, when I'm training other people how to get the life that they truly want. So there is an electronic version of this, but you won't be able to copy this tonight. But what I will say is just create your own. So every single thing you need from Woe to Go is actually on this sheet. But like I said, I might have gone through lots of lists, lots of creative brainstorming ideas, lots of crossing out, lots of who do I need to meet, who do I need to speak to. Somebody else may have made contact with me about a particular event or something, they'll go on that list. And then all my information, for example, workshop X, Y, and Z, all that information that I need, then I'll put onto a concise form such as this. So we have eight sides to it. And number one, if you are creating a workshop, start with the creativity side, because when you get your creativity flowing, it will create your money. When you're coming from your heart space, from exactly where you want and where you're aligned from, it will make you money. In what I've been in business since I was 19, 37 years. Never ever got out of bed for money, but I've made lots of it over the years. And I think that's because I've been aligned with what my values are. So this is an example of how we work it. You can swap and change it. You can chuck things out what don't work for you. You might not need all these elements. And also there's a lot of elements behind this as well, but in a short presentation time like this tonight, I couldn't possibly teach you the depth of how to truly monetize, but this will give you a really good idea. So for example, we've got a workshop here. Let's call it Wonderful World of Wellbeing Workshop. Before I move forward, I need a name with something, because it's sort of like creating a birth. So you've got something tangible that you can work on. And sometimes I'll change the title of things. I'm running a program at the moment that I've already run. I've run again, but now I'm ready to change the title of it, and that's okay. So while there's a fluidness, the fluidness comes of what I call breaking my own rules and structure once that's in place. So you'll find I'm going to briefly walk you through this, but when we get to the end, which is monetizing, obviously it's about how much do we want to make. So you go through all these processes, but then when we actually start taking that next level on board, the end becomes the beginning. Okay, so but for all intents and purposes, this is the way that it works, and it's always worked in my organization. We've just made it a bit more colorful and relaxed over the years. So pick your name, like Wonderful World of Wellbeing Festival or whatever, and under this title, it's call it what you want, but in the title, that's coming from you, that's your decision. So underneath that, there's your own values and what it means to you. How much do you like the name that you're choosing? Because if you're running with something that you don't like the name, everything else, it's going to be like a pack of dominoes. So your main important decisions, this is the decision-making thing, that has to be truly aligned with what's right for you, not something that's okay, you know. So, and you can call things what you want, but it just has to be for you. The next part is to look at the delivery method. How would you deliver a workshop? How would you deliver a meditation? How would you deliver a retreat? How would you deliver a festival? And just make the decision of how you're going to deliver, because when you've made that decision, that bears a lot on the costs and procedures following. Okay, so, and it doesn't matter what it is, you just drop in what's right for you, and then start having a look at breaking down what your workshop is going to be. So I always say when I'm teaching people, there's always a beginning, a middle and an end. Doesn't matter what it is. So you'll need a beginning, a middle and an end. And there's a time factor in there. And there's also planning involved in that. And all this takes money. So while even in your planning stages, it's costing, because you sat there. You know, I know what my time costs me, and I also know what it costs other people. When I'm creating a project, I don't do it alone. I have teams of people around me. And sometimes that has to be, the costs start right from the minute that we start planning. So it's important to know what's involved in the time factor there. So here in your workshop, your chapters are your beginning, middle and end, if you want, and make a quick decision, or as quick as possible, about breaking that down as quickly as you can, but not having to put all the content in there. You just need the outline, because then you can start looking at how long is it going to take me to create one chapter of my workshop. If your workshop is a full day and it's 8 hours and you've got 4 chapters, then, you know, that means you've got a couple of hours to deliver live or online, whatever your delivery method is. But the planning behind that is, you know, to get it absolutely spot on, which is what we all want, what we all aspire to. It takes time. And after that, look at who your client audience is. We can please some people, but we can't please everyone. And also, not everyone wants what we've got. Even although we have a desire, I have a desire to change the world and make everything holistic, but that's not real. It's absolutely far from reality. But knowing who your clients are is a really key thing to do. And there's no irony that it's sat right opposite the monetizing button as well. So have a sit down and a think about who your audience is. Who do you want to attract? And more importantly, once you've decided who you want to attract, where are they? Where are they sitting? Because you need to go and find them and bring them in. Otherwise, it's all leading to your desired outcome. The next stage of any creation of monetization is the content, because content is king, and it sells and it doesn't sell. So if you've got the right client in mind, and you've got an avatar of that client, you've got a profile, and you've worked it all out, you will start creating content, or if you're fortunate enough to have a content writer, based on your actual clients, your avatars, if you like. They will write the content to suit the clients, and the clients will suit, so it'll start working backwards. The clients will suit the project that you're creating, the workshop. So everything starts to key in at a really early stage. It's like piecing a jigsaw together. Content for me is one of the most difficult things, because I'm not a writer, I'm not a trained writer. But what I have experienced, we have social media people, we have content writers, but there's experiences I've done in the past before. One of my early festivals, I think it was the third one I ran, I actually handed the whole of the marketing, including writing the content, over to a marketing company. And to be honest, it nearly cost me my business. It completely desecrated my festival. And the learning from that was phenomenal. And I realised that whilst I don't want my festivals to be about me, because it's the bigger picture, it was my voice that needed to be told and shared with the influence of the whole festival. So never since have I given a festival content or any content away to anyone else. But I do work with content writers. So I have people what may write content for me, and then they'll have to send it to me, and then I'll rehash it around. And the reason why I do that is because I get stuck. I'm a creative person as well as logic, but I get stuck, and I'm not a professional writer. So if somebody kickstarts, then they can send it back to me, and it gives me the inspiration. So that's like my shot of research, if you like. But always look in detail. You might start off really enthusiastic, and again, all your content from beginning to end, you want to maintain that equilibrium, because your content is what's going to bring your clients in. And when your clients get there, they're going to be your cheerleaders to go out into the world and tell everybody else. So hopefully second time round, some of your monetizing efforts will have already been planned and in place and lucrative from the first time round. So it's about looking beyond the workshop that's in front of you, if you like. The next stage is marketing tools. How are we doing for time? 5 to. So marketing tools. How are you going to promote your workshop, your fair, your festival, your meditation? How are you going to tell people about that? So here I've just put a few ideas down. I mean, we're already in an event this evening. So literally everything that you're doing, you should be thinking of how it's going to be monetized, unless it's a complimentary.
Diane, 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes to go.
Thanks, James. So just always consider about what tools you need in place. And all of these titles could just start off as an easy list to start with. And it might be that you're working on your delivery method, but you have a conversation, or you're in a networking meeting and somebody mentions about landing pages, or a different type of mail list, or what's easy to use, or a design company for you to do some creative shots and what have you, to help sell it all. So you can just add them all to your list. But this is what you need to be considering at stage 6. And at stage 7, you need to be connecting the methods to your audience. So say, for example, if we do a lot of paid advertising on Facebook, if they're on Facebook, that's where your marketing methods are going to be. And what methods? Is it going to be free, or is it going to be paid advertising? Will you be sharing it in groups or flyers, leaflets? Will you need funnels? You will also need a ticketing system. And I would recommend, even if you're doing something for free, ticket it. Eventbrite have got a great platform. After all these years, we're still working with Eventbrite, because you do get found there. And if you're doing something for free, you've nothing to pay. So it's only when you charge for tickets that they charge you. So I would always say, put a ticket to anything you're doing, even if it's a meditation, because it looks professional. So you're creating a bar, you're creating a minimum level. And how you're going to market it, is it through live presentations, demonstrations, and how you need to follow up once you have done a presentation, because if people are interested in all items back, what you've created from the beginning, then you need to sell that to them. So just consider what you need to do to follow up and how you're going to gather their details. And then it brings us to number 8, the costings and the ad budget. If you're paying for advertising, a lot you can do organically and sharing groups and what have you, but sometimes you have to pay, and we have to do because of the nature of what we do, but it makes us money, so I'm really happy. And the tools for your budget, working out your fees, the time involved, your mailing list. Sometimes you have to pay for mailing lists every month. Would you need to be able to make a landing page yourself, or would you have to pay somebody for that? So just these are ideas of what components are involved that's actually going to cost you, because the most important thing that you need to decide is how much money you actually want to make from it. Because like I said at the beginning, if we haven't got money to pay our bills and keep our homes over our heads, we can't spread the joy that we do to the world. And it's important that we do that, because now is the time for health and well-being professionals, isn't it, with what's happened. So with that, and the reason why I've highlighted this in red is because even although it's listed in here right at the very end, it's actually the place where you start all this section of planning. So if you wanted to, if you were doing a day's meditation and you were wanting to make £1,000, for example, then you would put that on your plan to make £1,000, and you'd have to work back from there, deducting all the costs of everything that's it's going to cost you to be able to get there, and all your planning. Planning doesn't come free. If you're planning for 3 weeks for an event, then it's time and money, isn't it? So it'd all have to be built into it. So always decide how much you want to make. And there are times, being realistic, where you have to adjust and maneuver as you're getting towards the outcome. But if you don't have that in place, this is like the law of attraction. It's setting the power of intention. And I'd never, ever advise anybody to go past this. And I certainly wouldn't let anybody in a workshop of mine go forward without knowing how much they wanted to make from the beginning, because that will determine the outcome. Okay. So what we're actually looking at here is how to, all on one piece of paper, how to monetize your business. And this is a mind map. And so is this. Now, this mind map, I have about 4 or 5 that I work with, depending on what subject it is. But all these little owls, the wise old owls, sometimes people like graphics, but you'll just add your titles at the side of them. And I would mind map off that. They'd be the topics, and I'd just mind map off that. Something like this, believe it or not, creates that. And it's about how colourful and how visual you want to be.
Diane, we're going to, oh, sorry, you're going to finish. Yeah, you're finishing with the promotion, are you, or something?
I've just got this. This is a goal slide. So you need goals to complete. And these are going into the higher detail, like whose help do you need and what steps do you need to take. So it allows you to stay absolutely grounded. And where to start is at the end, which is how much money do you want to achieve from it, and work backwards from there. Okay. And this is, I won't labour on this, but this is a business plan for when we moved from wellbeing festivals to online events. And I just wanted to show you this because I'll move off it now. That was our business plan when we went online after COVID. And it was, that was from a presentation that I prepared for the local council on how to move online from a holistic viewpoint in the chaos that everybody's working in. So that's a creative business plan as well. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now.
Well, I'm going to stop, Diane, if you don't mind, I'm going to stop the recording. And I just want to say that was absolutely amazing. So can we just give Diane, I mean, really, Diane, what I want to say is that that was so good, so on point, so from your own experience, utter gold dust. So let's just give her a big round of applause. Absolutely tremendous. Thank you, Diane.
Yeah.
Epic, epic. And I'm going to stop the recording.